differences between the FAFSA and CSS Profile. Hi everyone, I'm Tina Steele, the FAFSA Guru, and if you like what I have to say, be sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking the link below. The FAFSA and the CSS Profile, two important forms in the financial aid process, but there are three major differences that I want to go over with you today. The first major difference between the two is the type of financial aid you're applying for when you fill out each of these forms. With the FAFSA, you're applying for federal and state financial aid that comes in the form of federal grants based on income, federal work study, federal direct student loans, and also Parent Plus loans are part of that equation. Whereas the CSS Profile, you're applying for institutional need-based scholarship money that particular institution has to offer. Not every college requires the CSS Profile, whereas every college requires the FAFSA in order to be considered for financial aid. There are over 300 colleges across the United States that actually ask you to fill out the CSS Profile. Difference number two, if you're divorced or separated, when you fill out the FAFSA form, only one parent needs to complete it. The parent with whom the child resided with most within the last year, along with their spouse if they're remarried. This is not the case with the CSS Profile. If you're divorced or separated, both the custodial and non-custodial parent are typically required to fill out a CSS Profile on behalf of the student. There are some colleges that do not require a CSS for the non-custodial parent, but they are few and far between. To determine this, you can simply Google search colleges that require the CSS Profile, and it will tell you whether or not they also require the non-custodial profile form. And then the third major difference is when it comes to the EFC. There are two different EFCs, one for the FAFSA and one for the CSS Profile. When you fill out a FAFSA form and send it to the federal government for processing, they perform a federal methodology and come up with what's called an EFC, or an expected family contribution. They then send this EFC to every college financial aid office that you listed on the FAFSA form, and then college financial aid offices use that EFC to determine how much federal and state financial aid to offer. With the CSS Profile form, each individual college determines what their EFC is through their own institutional methodology, which is going to vary from college to college. They will have different income parameters in place in terms of figuring out how much institutional need-based scholarship money a student might qualify for. So in the case where a college requires both of those forms, they use the FAFSA EFC to award the federal and state financial aid, but they use the institutional CSS Profile form EFC to determine how much of the need-based scholarship money they're going to award. It's so important that you find out whether or not the colleges you're applying to require the CSS Profile form. Missing filling this out could cost you thousands of dollars in scholarship money. As I mentioned before, just do a simple Google search, colleges that require the CSS Profile, and you'll pull up an alphabetical list of all of the colleges that require it. So there you have it, three major differences between the FAFSA and the CSS Profile. To learn more about the programs and services that I provide that can help you effectively navigate the financial aid process and really maximize those financial aid offers, be sure to visit my website, thefafsaguru.com. And I offer a free initial 10-minute consult call for anybody that I've never worked with before, whether you just have some general questions or you'd like to learn more about how I can help you get the best aid offers possible. You can schedule that right through my website. Thanks so much for watching.